Operations Management and Information Systems at the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. He has an excellent blend of academia and industry. He is passionate about leveraging technologies to make the world a better place to live. So I welcome you, Mr. Chandan Chowdhury, to please continue with your presentation.
All right. So good afternoon, everybody. So the topic of this workshop is future of school, the future of skills, and role of HR in the era of fourth industrial revolution. So what we are going to do is, so our topic is really interesting, and so we'll be talking about future of skills, role of HR in Industry 4.0. Now, initially, we'll just spend a minute to talk about market trends. I think that's very, very important that we understand. It will be also important for textile players from India that we are a part of a very complex value chain. And it's very important to understand that complex value chain. After that, we will see a short video clip, which will be on future of factories, how the factories of the future would look like. And then we would move on and we'll make an attempt to really understand impact of Industry 4.0 on the future of work. And that will be based on some of our own research. And then I will sum up. So that's how it has been structured. I do not know how many people are logged in the workshop. Priyanka, would you have an idea? Are there multiple people who logged into this? Yeah. Priyanka, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. So please give me 5 minutes. I will let you know how many participants.
Okay. All right. So this one of the things which is very important to understand that today customers are very, very demanding, and they just don't buy your products if they're not convinced that you are a responsible manufacturer, that you care about the environment. So this is increasingly putting pressure on companies. And today there was a session by Dina, and she spoke about circular economy. So commitment to sustainability and how much is your net carbon footprint is an important aspect. So not just doing business, but ensuring that you're committed to the environment, you're committed to sustainability, you understand the implications of circular economy. So that's a very, very important thing. And secondly, increasingly the international customers and also the customers in India are becoming very particular about adhering to the laws of the land. So if you're doing business with Sweden, you need to ensure that you adhere to the norms of Sweden. And if you have your facilities in India, you need to ensure that you adhere to the norms within our country. So this has become very, very important. And the customers want to have visibility about your manufacturing and compliance processes. That's another interesting trend. Now today, if you go to H&M's site, you would actually find that the suppliers of H&M, their performance is visible to the entire world. You can actually go and look up on the website. You will see H&M suppliers from India, H&M suppliers from Bangladesh, and H&M suppliers maybe from Vietnam. And as a potential customer, they would have visibility about your performance. So that's another thing. And net, you know, this whole topic of delivering high quality product which will have zero adverse environmental impact have become very, very important. Now moving on, let's look at why I'm saying that the value chain has become very, very complex. Now let's look at an example of one of the textile companies from India, from South. Tyagaraja Mills. Now, their customer demands that cotton got to be imported from a specific source. So let's say cotton is imported from China of a specific quality. The cotton is converted into yarn in a factory in South in Madurai. This yarn is then exported where it is converted into fabric, and that fabric is then exported to Austria, where coloring and printing happens, and you have your customer in Africa. All right, so the product is supplied to Africa. So if you really look at the value chain, it's very complex and very global. And whenever you talk about concepts like Atmanirbhar Bharat, it doesn't mean you make everything within India. So that's a very important aspect, and it's very important to understand that we may say whatever you want, right? That manufacturing would now move from country X to country Y. That's not that simple. If you create value to the value chain, you'll be a part of the value chain. If you don't create value, then you will be removed from the global value chain. Now, moving on, if you look at the future of skills and industry 4.0, we know the fourth industrial revolution and how it is different from the first. The first industrial revolution actually happened in the textile industry. And unfortunately, as we moved on to second, third, and fourth industrial revolution, textile industry lost its leadership position, right? 1784, when first industrial revolution happened, it started in the textile industry. Then your second industrial revolution was all about this mass production. Electricity was invented. Then we got into the third industrial revolution, which is automation. So today, large companies in India, they are primarily in the third industrial revolution, and many are still in second. Now, moving on to the fourth industrial revolution, IoT and cloud, they become very critical. So we move on and let's look at a factory of the future. And Priyanka, I don't know how many people have logged in, but in the end of this short video clip, I'm going to ask a question as to what are you learning from the factory of the future.
Yes,
so
yeah. A lot of people have logged in, but we will not be able to see them because it is
okay.
live.
No problem. Yeah. No problem. So, but can they chat? They can chat, right?
Yes, so they can chat.
They chat. Yeah, and I can see their chat. Can I see their chat, or may not be?
I think we can see.
Okay. So let's look at this video, which is on factory of the future.
In the factory of the future, both the workpiece and the machine will be intelligent. They will be completely networked and control production autonomously, and in a way that is more efficient and uses fewer resources than ever before. The possibilities are so vast and groundbreaking that many experts refer to it as a fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0. The first steps towards Industry 4.0 have already become reality. It all starts when mass production components become a unique item, with their purpose predefined at the outset. Because even before manufacturing, the component exists in virtual reality, including all information required for its production. But all the other necessary components also have to be mapped into the virtual world. They also get names and addresses, and thus an identity, so that they know where and when they are needed in the production line or process. Equipped in this way, they are able to negotiate their way through the digital factory for kilometers before reaching their destination. Arriving at the processing station, the workpiece is identified and the machine calls up in real time all information needed for processing. After each station, the work gets checked automatically, either optically or by using other measurements. Deviations from target specifications can thereby be discovered on the spot and faults can be eliminated quickly. If a machine needs replenishment or maintenance, it issues an appropriate request before shortages or breakdowns are experienced. The amount of resources used is immediately recorded in the system and stocks get updated. During processing, all relevant data for the product is stored in its own digital product memory. This means that every stage of production can be traced precisely. In the factory of the future, machines and workpieces will even communicate directly with each other and make autonomous decisions about the next production step, comprising a system that is decentralized, efficient, and flexible. For this, so-called cyber-physical systems are the key enabling technology. But for all this technology, humans are still crucial. Even in a highly automated production environment, creativity, experience, and the ability to assess and evaluate situations remain irreplaceable. But technology can provide valuable support. Operator-safe control systems already allow automatic and manual production to be combined. And regarding quality control, employees use augmented reality to determine whether the product meets the required quality standard and can be shipped to the customer. Electronics and software allow for ever higher levels of networking to be reached. Completely new, complex systems are being developed in next to no time. The German electronics industry is at the heart of this rapid change with its own innovative products. Some important questions need to be resolved before factories become truly smart, including topics such as standardization and IT security. Yet the opportunities provided by Industry 4.0 are enormous. Productivity can be increased by up to 30%, and both the quality and diversity of products will significantly rise. At the same time, the period between development and production will shorten. Thus, Industry 4.0 will make a decisive contribution towards maintaining and improving Germany's competitiveness as an industrial location center.
Yeah. So if there are people who are connected, it will be good if you write on the chat what are your learnings from the factory of the future, what are the insights. I want you to know that even in textile industry, there are factories. Yeah.
Thank you for your this video, wonderful presentation. I would just like to interrupt in between. I have to introduce our session chairman. He's here, right here. So please allow me to extend the warmest greeting to the session chairman, Mr. Anil Peshawari, MD, Meenu Creation LLP. He is a graduate from Sri Ram College of Commerce and a qualified chartered accountant. He started his garment export industry in 1998 for markets in Europe and USA. His company specializes in youngest fast fashion. So I welcome you, sir. So please take over now.
And maybe it will be good if you say a few words.
Thank you.
Anilji, it will be good if you say a few words before I continue.
Yeah, sure. Professor Chandan Chowdhury, Ms. Vasanti Srinivasan, my OGTC colleagues, members of the industry and delegates. I welcome you all to this session. Sorry, there was some technical hitch and I could join a little later. So today's subject is the session subject about the role of the HR and the role of the HR in terms of future skills is more important than ever in this situation in the post-COVID scenario. Yesterday, we had a AEPC executive committee meeting in Jaipur, and I was there and I came back yesterday. And I can tell you that with all the industry stalwarts being present there, the consensus was that the order situation is going to improve, has already improved a lot for the industry, and it will continue to improve provided we deliver and we come to the expectations of the buyers of the entire world. And there are a lot of factors leading to that. It's the China's situation politically as well as economically is going to determine the course of our industry. And my own personal experience of interacting with my customers is that all of them are looking towards India to replace the gap which they know and they believe is going to be created by China. And India is the only country, because of its vast population, resources, fiber to garments, we are the only country after China. The other countries, other manufacturing countries, including Bangladesh, Vietnam and all, are so very heavily dependent on China for its raw material, whereas India is not so. So it's very, very important now that our HR assumes a much bigger role than the traditional role it has been performing in our industries. And we need to look into the upskilling of our workers, our middle management also. To procure workers, because the demand is going to be more, so we would be needing more and more workers and people for our industry than there are. And the only way it can be done is if a lot of emphasis can be placed on training, bringing the new stream into the industry, giving them training, making their skills higher, and so on. And the whole future of our industry actually hinges on that. That is what my firm belief is. So, not taking much of a time, since we have the experts to speak on this subject, I would hand over again to you, Priyanka, to continue with our experts.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful this thing. So, please, Mr. Chandan, you may continue.
Yeah. So we actually saw an example of factory of the future, and I would like to share with you that even in the textile industry today, there are several factories globally. When you count the number of employees, the percentage of employees who are not physical but digital, meaning robots, are increasing, and they work very religiously, round the clock, tirelessly, and they can even work when the factory is dark. So this factories are going through a big transformation. And if you look at India's apparel industry, I believe in next 5 to 10 years time, they would go through massive transformation. And they're going to have pressure from their end consumers and customers to change. Now, schematically, I would like to share with you, if you look at over a period of time, what's happening, that the jobs which were repetitive in nature, and you're going to experience this even among the OGTC members in next couple of years. So jobs which are repetitive, percentage of those jobs are reducing. So over a period of time, you can actually see that repetitive jobs are reducing. Now they're reducing because of automation. Business processes are going through transformation, you have automation. Now, one interesting thing is there are a lot of new type of jobs emerging, jobs which did not exist traditionally, jobs that involve innovation and creativity. And I think in future, repetitive jobs will be reducing. There'll be demand for roles involving creativity and innovation. And HR going to play a very, very important role, especially for upskilling. I happen to chair the accelerator for World Economic Forum on upskilling. And I think upskilling is going to be a very, very critical thing. So HR going to play an important role in creating awareness about new type of technologies that you have in the fourth industrial revolution, especially augmented reality, virtual reality. You'll find they'll be very, very important when you want to do inspection of quality. They'll be extremely important when you want to do engagement with customer. So these two technologies will become very, very important. I think at a prototype stage, you believe in next 5 to 8 years time, 3D printing will start becoming extremely popular in the textile industry, at least for prototyping. Simulation will become important. Simulation, using simulation technologies, I think will be more common. You will find many companies will start acquiring their competitor. So you will have what is known as horizontal integration. You will also find some of the players might actually acquire their suppliers. So you will have a vertical integration. And you'll find in your factory, you're going to have a lot of sensors. So sensorization of factories, sensorization of your value chain, sensorization of your supply chain, wherein you can track your suppliers and your customers can track your product, will again be very, very important. And IoTs and industrial IoTs will play an important role. You'll also find, as you have a lot of sensors deployed in your value chain and factory, a lot of data will be collected. These data will be pushed to the cloud, and there'll be a lot of analysis made, which will give you intelligent insights. Now, this is a picture of one of the OGTC member. I found, the people who work. In fact, I find OGTC members being very, very vibrant. Kind of collaboration you do, I haven't seen that degree of collaboration in other textile hubs in our country. So I think OGTC is a great hope for our nation to set new benchmark of collaboration. And you will find that in the textile industry, in sampling, in design, 3D, virtual and augmented reality will be very, very important, right? In fact, today during the panel discussion, we had discussed about Hugo Boss. They have a huge digital strategy. They call it virtualization strategy. Virtualization for design, virtualization for even manufacturing, and virtualization for conversation with your customer. So you may actually have conversation with your customer and you can display a product which does not exist. Before even making the first sample, you can have engagement with your customer where customer will view the digital design of your product, and your customers may be connected from different parts of the world, right? You may get connected with different parts of the world, and that is going to transform your business processes, right? I would like to share with you some of our research findings. A study that we did in the textile industry. It also covers apparel. I will make some special mention about apparel. I'm displaying the name of Trident Group because the Trident Group had actually given us the research grant for the research. And we did this study not only in North, we actually went down south. You all may be knowing Tamil Nadu is also a very big cluster of textile industry. We went to places like Coimbatore, Karur, Madurai, Tirupur. We interacted with owners of companies, managing directors of companies. We interacted with academicians, professional bodies to really do deep dive and understand this whole subject of impact of the fourth industrial revolution on the future of skills. Now, let me give you some understanding about some of the work that we have done. So NSDC has actually documented and captured 103 job roles related to the textile industry. Out of that, 45, majority of them are actually related to apparel. And many of you who are members of the OGTC group are in the apparel industry. And Is that correct, Anilji? Is it correct? Many of the OGPC members, they are predominantly into apparel. Okay, you are on mute. Anilji, you are on mute.
Yes, all of them are either entirely in apparel or substantially in apparel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you really look at 45 job roles, now please remember this 103 job roles reflect 80% of India's textile workforce. And you are almost talking about, I don't know, in the neighborhood of 50 million people. Anilji, what will be the number that textile industry employs at a country level?
I don't have the exact figure, but one thing which I know is that textile is the second largest employer of the country after agriculture. Agriculture, you can't compete because agriculture as it is at 43%. But after agriculture, we are the largest employer in the country for any industry. And a very interesting fact, I tell you, something like 3 years ago, there was an article written by Mr. Panigrahi, where he compared Shahi Exports, which is the largest apparel exporting company in our country, and Reliance, where the emphasis was that Reliance Group may have a capital investment of thousands and thousands times of Shahi Exports. Shahi Exports, with something like $786 million investment, is directly employing at that time 127,000 employees, including workers, and Reliance had only 187,000 with thousands and thousand times more investment, because R is an industry which actually is the most relevant for a country like India with a huge population, where with a very 2 months training or so, a person can earn his livelihood, and we need a lot of people in our industry versus investment compared to any other industry.
Correct. Yeah. So this textile industry, in fact, unfortunately, the textile lobby is not as strong as, let's say, automotive lobby, right? It doesn't get as much support that it deserves from the government. I'm not hesitant in making this statement. It's an industry. If India got to increase employment, textile industry got to be supported. Today, it doesn't get as much support, right? If you take both direct and indirect employees, it will be in the neighborhood of 90 million, the number of people who work in this industry. But even if you take direct, the number will be in the neighborhood of 50 million. And we actually looked at this 103, and we went around and also did deep dive in many industries. And we found that NSDC job roles, for instance, does not capture jobs like cutting, stitching, and packaging. And when you compare this 103 job roles with another company, large company, which is not into apparel. So apparel was missing, but spinning was, all the 16 was there. Out of weaving, 30 roles existed, and there were 7 new roles. Just to sum up, our study shows that out of these 103 job roles defined by NSDC, which represents 80% of India's job roles, textile workforce, it is in the neighborhood of 34% of these jobs will be replaced by machines, and only around 29% of the jobs will remain with human. But we will have many job roles which are new. They don't exist today. And therefore, HR leaders got to play a very important role in upskilling people. There'll be some jobs where you will find that machines will lead, and there'll be some jobs where the human will lead and technology is support. So in one area, machine will lead, human will support. Other area is the fourth industrial revolution, the technologies are going to lead and human will support. So upskilling, in the fourth industrial revolution era is going to be very, very critical. Now let's look at apparel, right? The industry that is of real interest to the OGTC members. Now, our study of 45 job roles related to apparel shows that almost 29% of the jobs of these 45 job roles will be replaced by machines in near future. With technology, and technology is becoming more and more affordable. Only around 42% of the jobs will remain with machines, and HR going to play a very, very important role also in upskilling, because you will have around 28.9% of the job roles which will be new, which does not exist today, right? You will find that some of these job roles will get transformed where machines will lead, as I mentioned earlier, and in some of them, humans will live, right? And technology. So there will be a collaboration between technology and human. Now, net, I wanted to share with you that in the fourth industrial revolution era, customer engagement, you have to leverage a lot of technology, right? You cannot be asking customer what you need. You cannot be asking all the time, customer, tell us what is that you do not like. You got to leverage technology like machine learning, big data. You need to figure it out yourself. Is the product supplied by you, branded under a separate name, sold by a B2B company, is liked by your customers' customers? You got to figure that out. That's number one. Number two, you got to figure out what you do not supply, but customer needs. You're going to go back to them and tell them, hey, we have done a study and our study shows that this product will be of great interest to you. And here is a sample that we have prepared. And this is the digital sample. Have a look at it and tell us, do you like it? They say, wow, that will be great. So I think customer centricity and your agility will be greatly influenced by Industry 4.0 technology. Now, whatever may be your facilities, right? I know there are a lot of initiatives happening within OGTC members. And in fact, Anil will be very happy to share with you our model where you could see our, these job roles, which are for apparel industry, 45 job roles. What is our assessment? Which are the job roles which we believe will be replaced? What is the technology which is going to replace it? And you can probably validate it through your members, and I would get connected with you later on. Now, and we don't need any money for this, because if our research is not utilized, then we don't feel happy, because and we have gone around and must have visited around 40 industries in the textile industry, and many of them are apparel industries, including your OGTC member. Whatever is your facility, I think your facility will be impacted with Industry 4.0 technologies, and the productivity got to increase, right? If you got to be globally competitive. Second is your value chain, where you have your customers, you have your supplier, you are there, you may be having multiple factories, you got to have digital continuity across your value chain. 2 points that I wanted to highlight. Now, this digital value chain, right, is going to be extremely critical in a world which is becoming increasingly contactless. That's point one. Point two, digital innovation will be important, not just automation. You got to be thinking about new business model, new sources of revenue, and you got to do innovation to really figure out those new business models which will help you to open up new sources of revenue. So you need to leverage the virtual world. If you want to improve the performance of the physical world, you have to integrate with the, you got to leverage the virtual world. So physical world today is getting integrated with virtual world. People are talking about digital twin. I And we were talking about experimenting in the digital twin to figure out what would best work in your physical facility. Now let's do a quick poll, and I don't know how many of you are connected. You'll find it extremely insightful. I would like you to open this on your phone. You can use you can even use your smartphone, or you can use your iPad or desktop or your laptop, and you need to open up this www.menti.com, and it is going to ask for a PIN, and this is the PIN that you have to enter, 70542157, and then a lot of questions would appear. So let me just go to this. Let me go to this first question. My first question is, what is the degree of automation of the designing process in your organization? So in apparel industry, yes, Anilji, you have a designing process, right? You have a designing process. So let's talk about the designing process, right? I find only one person has logged in. So it will ask, you can go to menti.com. On the top you can see, go to menti.com, www.menti.com, and you use a code 70542157, and you'll be able to see this question. Now, I don't know if others are able to get connected. I see there are 2 people who got connected. Priyanka, are you able to get connected? Anilji, are you able to get connected? Are you able to type in on your phone this www.menti.com?
I'm trying to connect.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll also try, sir.
Yeah, just try if you can on your Google. I can see 3 people connected. In fact, recently with one of the textile industry, we had 1,390 people with whom I did an exercise. That was not for apparel, but for other processes of textile. And what you will see, the next couple of questions, they're all related to apparel. And it will give you an absolutely clear idea about how the world is changing, or how industry 4.0 is going to impact the apparel industry. So www.menti.com is what you have to type in. Priyanka, are you able to type?
Yes, sir. I'm able
to. Has it opened up? Are you able to see it?
I'm able to see the questions.
And then there are options.
Yes.
That is the design process manual in your organization, or semi-automated or automated, right?
Yes.
Now, we found 4 responses, right? I really thought there are more people. You would find it very interesting, but I move on to the next question. Anilji, is your mobile able to see this question? Is it showing up?
As attendees are asking for the code, I am repeating. It is 70542157. You can see on the screen as well.
And you can also type out on the chat box, right?
Yeah.
You can type it out on the chat box. 70542157. And Priyanka, can you type out on the chat box?
Yes, sir. I have done.
You have typed it out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have 7 people, but it'll be wonderful at least, if the number is slightly higher. And Priyanka, have you been able to connect? Yes, you have been able to connect, right?
Yes, sir. I'm able to connect.
Anilji, are you able to connect on your phone, on the browser, in the phone? You are on mute. Anilji. Anilji, you are on mute. Anilji, Anilji is on mute, actually. We are not able to hear. So
I have already, I'm connected.
Yeah. Are you able to see the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've already answered. We are semi-automated.
Okay. Right. So I go to the next question, right? The next question is about what is the degree of automation of the cutting process? First, we spoke about design process. Now we're talking about the cutting process. So what is the degree of automation of the cutting process in your organization? Is it manual? Is it semi-automated? Is it automated, right? We got somebody who said automated. There's another person who said manual, right? And then maybe, you know, a few more seconds, and then we will move to the next question. By the way, this will we have captured in our study the kind of technologies which is going to automate them, right? And Anilji, I will get connected with you. We'll do that exercise among all the OGTC members, and I think it will be very interesting.
Professor Chandan, can I come in for a minute?
Yeah, please.
I mean, it's the question that you have asked, the degree of automation of the cutting process. I want to tell you that, and everybody, it's so interesting. You know, for many years, sometimes the thoughts was coming, the idea was coming that to have the automatic cutting machine. But, you know, so the companies who have invested so much in this technology, and they are lying idle because of the nature of fabrics that we use and so on and so forth. So we didn't do it. But I bought my first automatic cutting machine. We are using the spreaders for quite some time, but the cutting machine, I think we got it installed about 6 months ago. And to my surprise, the benefit of this one machine is so, I mean, they're enormous. The ROI, if you're using this machine to its full potential, is somewhere around 6 months. And that is when I talk about only the direct money saving. But the factors like the indirect, which you cannot quantify, like the quality of the garment, the measurements issue not being there, the operators don't have to use any kind of a scissor or do any extra work in the lines, and they just go on, are so many that exactly 2 months after installing the first, I placed the order for another one, which is going to be installed very soon now. I'm going to receive it next week. So my request to all, and I mean, I'm very glad that you asked this question, and I had this idea to share with all my colleagues and members and exporters. And I think this is the first investment that one should do immediately, because the results and the benefits are amazingly enormous. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. So I move to the next question, which is,
Sir,
yeah.
Can I take some questions? There are some questions.
Sure.
Yeah. So Mr. Dharmender Singh, he's asking, what is the definition of automation? And is it related to IT for data processing or machine automation?
So this automation would mean that either, so first of all, automation would mean there's no human intervention in that particular process. Like Anilji mentioned, in cutting, he bought a machine, he deployed, commissioned, and the jobs which were done by human earlier is actually taken over by that machine. And you mentioned that, you know, ROI was just 6 months, right? Direct monetary benefit. So you're just talking, our example, our understanding about automation in this example is, if you say fully automated, it means there's no human intervention required whatsoever in the stitching, right? If you think there is some involvement, then you say semi-automated. You see that entire thing is manual, then you say manual, right? Right. So that was, you know, the Dharmenderji's question. So I would then move to the next question. I'm looking at the time. I would move to the next question. In fact, Mr. Kesar told that we can go until 3:15. That's what he had told me. Now, I move to the next question, and I think the next question is interesting. So, our next question is, what is the degree of automation of the finishing process in your organization, right? In fact, we have some case studies where, this entire factory in US, in one of the factories, you hardly find human because they decided that they will re-engineer their entire production process. They built a new factory where you had large number of robots. Population of robots, by the way, globally going up. In India, still low, but I believe in next, 5 to 10 years, just like it happened in telecom industry, in robot sector, the number of robots would go up, right? Right now, in fact, I'm mentoring one of the startups, and when I looked at their projection of next 1 year, how many robots they have order booking. So robots are going to go up. So the question was, what is the degree of automation of the finishing process in your organization? Now we move to the next question. Our next question is, what is the degree of automation of the checking process in your organization? So the question is about checking process, right? What is the degree of automation of the checking process in your organization? Now, from the checking stage, we will actually go now to the next stage, right? And you will find after the next couple of questions, we will come to a totally different type of questions. So our next question, I think I will wait for a few more seconds. Few more people are likely to do their submission. I see one more person has done the submission. You can actually see the checking process, right? In fact, in checking process, optical devices, optical technologies, and augmented reality, they are going to be extremely powerful. They're going to be very popular for the checking process to ensure that you are sure you got the quality that you wanted to get. So I go to the next question. Our next question is the degree of automation in the packing process, right? Many organizations, it is highly manual. And Anilji probably will be able to share his thoughts on, is he seeing a lot of automation happening in packing during the last couple of years? Anilji?
Yes. I think the packing department, when I say whether it is manual or automation, I think in our industry and all the factories I know and my factories including, I would say it's by and large manual, except the fact that now for a long time we have those strapping machines for the boxes and all. If we can call it automation, yes, we are semi-automated. But other than that, I think the packing process more or less is manual in most of the industry.
Okay. So we move to the next question, which is, now we are going to actually name a set of technology. And I think it's very important for HR leaders at least to know about them, that these are the kind of technologies which are coming up, and probably I need to have an upskilling strategy, right? Or maybe you need to hire a set of new employees, right? With knowledge on some of these technologies, in addition to your upskilling strategy. So one of them is advanced robotics. Now, the kind of robots which are available today, right? First of all, robot prices are coming down. Robot prices are coming down, right? They're exponentially coming down, robot prices. So that's number one. In fact, one of the companies that I work with, right, that we mentor, they focus on MSMEs, and MSMEs cannot make big investment in robots. So robots, you find advanced robots are not like those traditional robots which were very wild, and you had to put them in a cage, and you could not go close to them. Now the robots are becoming much more collaborative. So this question was, is the advanced robotics technology currently in use in your organization? That was the question. We move to the next question, and next question is actually interesting. Now, 3D printing, right? 3D printing. I remember in one of the OGTC seminars before COVID, I was sharing examples of 3D printing in textile industry. So 3D printing technology, is it currently in use? Maybe in small scale, maybe for limited purpose, but as a technology, I mean, is it something wherein the technology has a footprint in your organization? So that was the next question. So I would move to the next question, which is on virtual and augmented reality. I think that's going to be very, very important, right? That's going to be very, very important. In fact, a while back during an inaugural session, there was a discussion about Hugo Boss. I gave an example of their virtualization strategy on kind of things they do. And many customers today globally, you will find that they love companies, they love suppliers if they have a virtualization strategy, especially if you are able to collaborate and show them digitally, remotely, not they coming to your facility. They gain a lot of confidence. So that was about virtual and augmented reality. We move on to the next question. That's about simulation, right? Simulation can be used in different areas, right? Different areas. Now the question is, are you leveraging simulation, right? For example, are you able to leverage now many international customers, especially in Nordic, and also top brands like Target, Walmart, your H&M. They are looking at your ability to simulate and predict the new strategy that you have drawn, right? With your new strategy, will you be consuming less water? Or with your new approach, are you going to consume less chemical? Is your carbon footprint going to reduce, right? And people are talking about leveraging simulation. Moving on to the next question. Our next question is about IoT. I think at the minimum, what you are going to see in factories, right? In fact, I remember visiting OGTC factories. I think I would have visited around 6 of them. And I found that even among the members, some of the factories had deployed IoT for getting real-time information from the shop floor related to various processes. So the question is that, and you have to remember one thing, when you say IoT, it is slightly different from traditional sensors. Traditional sensors will gather information, but they cannot send those values over the internet. IoTs can receive signal. It can also send signal over the internet. So that was the next question. We move on to the next one. Is cloud computing, right? Is cloud computing? In fact, one of the OGTC members I had interacted, they were talking about going for application where data, whatever they're collecting, is pushed to the cloud and analysis is done. So cloud computing is an area which is becoming very, very popular, right? In fact, may not be right now for apparel. I'm right now mentoring one of the US company. We are talking about very complex simulation being done not in today's computer, but quantum computers. So things that you did earlier in 30 days, maybe you'll be able to do it in 3 hours. So cloud computing, even at this point of time with traditional computers and traditional technologies, cloud computing is becoming popular. Organizations are sending data to the cloud and doing analysis, getting insights. In fact, another area which is becoming popular is edge computing. So in edge computing, you will not push data to the cloud. It is in your organization, near your machine, where you are collecting data, you will do analysis and you will get insight. and some of it you will push to the cloud. So response time become much faster. Decision making is much faster. Now the next technology that we talk about in now we are getting increasingly connected, right? We're getting increasingly connected. Factories are getting connected. People are getting connected. Customers are getting connected. So cyber security is becoming very, very important. You may one day find that all your designs are in a computer and your computer has been hacked and the hacker is telling you, hey man, in next 10 hours, you give me $2 million, otherwise every design that you have there will be destroyed, right? And if you do not have a cyber security, data backup, and strategy, then you will have big problem. My next question is about big data, right? We spoke about using big data. You can understand what your customer wants. You can understand, is your customer happy? You can understand how your product performs versus your competition, right? So big data analytics is becoming very, very important. It's becoming very, very important. In fact, big data where you analyze information which is unstructured, maybe available on Facebook, available on LinkedIn, available on Amazon comments. You can do analysis of that. And when you couple it with machine learning, it becomes very, very compelling. I move to the next question, which is, which skill is the most important for your employees to be future ready, right? And it will be good if Anil ji also makes some comments, right? Do you think that data analytics, where decisions will be based on data and not just based on experience? Do you see data analytics? If you have to just pick one of them out of all this, is it machine learning? Is it data analytics? Is it cloud computing? Is it data-driven decision making? Is it robot operation and programming? What do you think is going to be, you know, if you have to pick just one? Anilji, what will be your take on this?
My pick would be data analytics.
Data analytics. Okay.
Because when I the definition of employees in this case would be and production, the senior people. Because if they are well versed with understanding the data, comparing the cluster of figures, are able to understand and pinpoint which figure is sticking out, which is not fitting into the pattern, and things like that. I think when they develop that skill, I hope I'm right when I'm answering this, that data analytics is that. So when they develop this skill, then they can always if the data analysis capabilities are not developed, then black and white gets merged with each other, and the right decisions and logical decisions are not reached on. And not only that, then they don't learn from the mistakes which are being made, because unless and until analysis is done very, very rightly, you cannot distinguish between what mistakes you have made and what right you have done, so that you improve the right ones in the future, in the next time, and try to remove the mistakes as much as possible.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. Now, moving on, the next question is, what is the skill demand for IT infrastructure in your organization in the next 5 years? IT infrastructure, somebody who can manage your IT infrastructure. And probably it shouldn't be just one person, maybe two persons, because one fellow may just leave, and then you need to have somebody, who understands this. Do you think ITs, do you see demand for skills for IT infrastructure in your organization? So that's the question that we had. In fact, these are the questions that HR leaders need to ask in the context of their organization. If they look at the current people who are there, right? Do they believe IT infrastructure is important? If they believe it is important, whether the employee has the adequate level of skills in managing IT infrastructure. Our next question is on what is the skill demand for automation technology in your organization, right? Because if you look at the OGTC member, many factories that I have visited, they are highly manual, right? Now, do you see a demand for people who understand which all of the processes you can economically automate, meaning you have the ROI? So do you see demand for such people who understands what can be automated, what are the technologies available, who are the possible vendors, with whom to get connected, how to do a proof of concept? So that's about automation. We move to the next question, is about data analytics. We also spoke about it earlier, and Anilji was mentioning, right? So we are saying, what is the skill demand for data analytics in your organization in the next 5 years? Like Anilji was telling, he believes that's a skill which is very, very important, right? So what's your assessment? You know, what is the skill demand for data analytics in your organization in the next 5 years? So if you look at your 5 years horizon, what will be your assessment? So that was the question that we had. And I move on to the next question, which is on the skill demand for data security. We spoke about that. Some organizations have got people, but many organizations do not have, right? In fact, there are many large organizations that I know where they have been the victim of their infrastructure being hacked, right? So data security is going to be a very, very important thing. Even your customers would expect that you have data security because they share a lot of data which they may not want you to share inadvertently because you do not have proper data security with their competition. So data security is one skill which is very important. Then we are talking about what is the impression of your employees, right? I've come towards the end of my interactive discussion that what is the impression of your employees regarding job security in the Industry 4.0 environment? What your employees think, you know, if they are hearing this terminology, automation, Industry 4.0, are they, you know, are they confident that they will retain their job? Or they feel that their importance will get reduced? Or, you know, employees worry about losing their job. So we are talking about three options, right? Employees are confident of retaining their jobs. Second category is employees fear that their importance may reduce, right? Their bosses will not give them as much importance because of automation. And you have the third category of people that they worry about losing their job. They feel that, well, they might end up losing their job. So what you believe are the impression of your employees? Now, HR heads got to understand the psyche of the employees, right? That will be very, very important, and you have to remove that fear that, hey, you know, upskilling, automation does not mean that you will lose job. In fact, your job roles will get elevated. So I think that is a very important role that HR heads needs to play. So these were a couple of questions I had. I would just like to now sum up our discussion, right? I believe digital continuity across the value chain, right? Across the value chain will be critical. And we are seeing processes. We are seeing many organizations. In fact, if I talk about our placement at ISB, right? Yeah, last year was the first year that everything happened virtual. Everything was virtual. Companies which used to come physically conduct 30 interviews. Some of the companies used to come with 70 panel members. They used to sit in several rooms. There was multiple rounds of interview. Now they got used to the fact that they can sit in US and conduct the interview as efficiently as possible. And you can even record the interview later on if you want to replay. So now many of them got addicted. So this year, during our placement in the month of Jan, all companies have informed they want to only do virtual. So the world is actually becoming contactless. Many business processes which you think would become physical after situation becomes completely normal, I think it's not going to happen. A lot of things will be hybrid, many things will remain only digital, some would continue to be physical. So second is, if our jobs do not involve creativity and innovation, will lose relevance and robots will replace them mercilessly. Prices of robots are coming down, right? At a pace you can't imagine. It's literally exponentially coming down, the prices, right? Our products and factories will be increasingly smart and connected, leveraging IIoT, which is industrial IoT and cloud. And I think HR heads, which is very, very important, HR heads need to prepare their employees for their future of skills in the apparel industry. So I think for the HR heads, this will become very, very important. So thank you very much. Over to Anil. Any question anybody is having? Priyanka, if there are questions, if anybody has typed in, you can ask, and Anilji and me will be happy to take it in case there are questions.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Okay.
No, sir, I can't see any questions.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Chandan. Let me tell you, listening to you with all these new ideas and the future requirements and the changes and the speed of changes that is taking place in today's world, I just thought that we all human beings know, it's equivalent to like we all human beings know that one day we are going to die. But we refuse to believe that. And that's the essence of going on. Because if you start to believe, oh, one day we are going to die, then none of us would be motivated. But so we don't believe it. We believe, we say, no, not in my case. It's the same when you were talking about all these changes, the innovations, the technology, which is there around the corner or which is already there and we are not so aware. I was thinking it's equivalent to that. We have to face it, but probably at the moment we are refusing to believe it, and we think our business will keep on going the same way as we have been running it for so many years. And I absolutely agree with you that the future, the time requires now for our industry also, which by and large has always been very, very predominantly manual based and less on automation and technology and machine, because we always thought, and even today we think, that a lot of work in garmenting is something which cannot be replaced by machines, but probably the next 5 years or 10 years or 15 years will prove us wrong. So I think it is very, very important that we all in the industry recognize this fact, accept this fact, and move on to that direction with the help of enlightened people like you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate. Thank you.
Over to you, Priyanka.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Professor Chandan Chowdhury, for an enlightening session and presentation on the future of skills. We appreciate having this complicated area clarified by you. So now I welcome our second speaker,
हेलो प्रियंका मैम,
Yes, sir.
आपको इससे एंड करना पड़ेगा, लीव करना पड़ेगा
Okay.
और दूसरे
Okay.
में लॉग इन करना पड़ेगा। अनिल सर, अनिल सर,
Yes.
सर नेक्स्ट सेशन में ज्वाइन एज अ स्पीकर कीजिएगा।
Yeah.
ओके ओके, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू एवरीवन।
Okay.